Well, happy Mother's Day.
Hey, happy Mother's Day to you and yours.
That's what I'm talking about.
Heck to the yeah.
That's the gift that I give my mother every Mother's Day. Is nobody can call me daddy. So here's to you.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, man. Yeah, there's to you. Bottoms up, man. There's to you.
As I thought it was kind of a fitting episode of Dark Side of the Ring to come out the week of Mother's Day. If nothing else, my favorite character, the person that leaves me wanting more, is Linda Pillman.
Oh yeah.
Man, she's my favorite.
Nothing says Happy Mother's Day like Linda Pillman.
And I mean, it's kind of getting the cart before the horse. We'll get into talking about all that, but even to the point that she has a T-shirt on her wrestling tees now. I'm like, I gotta get that. Oh man, I want that.
That's bad. That's real bad.
It's like it's a cool thing. Supports the family, but like pretty much everything on pro wrestling tees, when I go to order it, I'm like, I'm never gonna wear this. No thanks.
I can dig it, man. I find so much crap on there that I want, and I love the Sammy for Syria T-shirt. I love
Yeah,
that, and
I was almost persuaded.
yeah, I should. My
But
thing
it's the
is,
same. I'd much rather just. Why don't I just go ahead and make a donation to the cause, because I'm never going to wear this. It's kind of how I got out of that one.
I can dig it, man. I pro wrestling tees, the stuff that I've actually ordered for them. Ordering from pro wrestling tees is like ordering from WWE's shop, man. If you order from WWE's shop, you goddamn better wear it. That shit's
Yeah,
expensive. Pro wrestling tees is expensive too, but see, they don't make 10,000 of everything, so I
it's
understand why their crap's expensive.
it's
But
more justifiable.
yeah, and it's just one and done, and it's fun, and I can dig it. So Danhausen is cool. Like I said, my biggest problem with my pro wrestling tee stuff is half of it I can't wear anymore because it's like I don't want to support that guy. I don't want to support that guy. It sucks, but it's true.
Hmm.
So Danhausen I'm good with, and the Sami Zayn shirt I love that. But the other one, this is actually, believe it or not, and I'll stand by it as far as my opinion, the one and only T-shirt that AEW has ever produced that I think is worth a dime. I just don't like any of their stuff, but the Uncle Sam Aubrey Edwards T-shirt is awesome. I think that's AEW. It might be Pro Wrestling Tees, but I'm pretty sure it's AEW. But that one's cool. I like that shirt.
Cool.
I'm getting way all over the place, but we'll discuss her later. There's something that I want to mention about Aubrey.
That's cool, man. Well, that was my big thing that I watched this week was the Dark Side of the Ring, and it's one of those that it's like some of these stories that are ultra depressing. It's kind of hard to say like, yeah, man, you need to watch it. You'll love it.
Yeah, dude, it's good stuff though. I mean, every time I've actually watched an episode, which is to be fair, most of them, I've seen most of them. I really wind up liking them. And that one, excuse me, I'm only about 20 minutes into the second part. Excuse me, I'm trying to get that to go away. The first part I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Second half I'm enjoying so far because that's my whole thing with all the gun thing and all that. It did remind me. This is so stupid, so dumb. But I'll try and justify. It's not even an opinion. It's not like, oh, what they should have done. It's just what I wish they had done. And don't get me, it would have looked stupid to make this actually work. But I have always thought that, well, when Austin 316 meets Pillman 9mm, it's a good line, but how in the world, if you are writing that script, how do you not go with the poetry of Austin 316 versus Pillman 357? And
Yeah.
again, Brian Pillman with the 357. Well, the 357 is a ridiculous looking weapon anyway, but that just sounds awesome. And I'm like, oh, it reminded me of that missed opportunity. But that whole thing and that whole era, the whole Brian Pillman, oh, he's loose cannon. Oh, he changed the world. La di da. WWE. It's like, I know that he was in WWE when he did that stuff, but I don't remember him wrestling at all. And when you watch the show, you find out why. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Okay, all right, 'cause I didn't know anything about the wreck or any of that stuff. So I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, now that makes more sense.
Yeah. I remember hearing about his foot being almost Kerry Von Erich.
When they said that he almost lost his foot, I'm like, man, Gary Von Erich. I thought the same
Yeah.
thing, man.
But I didn't realize to the extent that uh, that injury was catastrophic.
Yeah,
Because I mean, when I've heard people talk about the injury, it's kind of like hurt his foot. Like, no, he jacked up his whole person. you know,
yeah, man.
did not realize how bad it was, and I think they kept that under wraps for
Yeah,
that very reason.
I felt bad for his mom having to describe them putting plates in his face. I couldn't help but think like, it's mean. I don't because she's great. She is definitely the hero of the piece. I don't mean to pick on her, but as soon as she's
Mhm.
described, well, they had to like, cut his skin and peel his face back. I'm like, yep, that's how plates get in your face. I'm not sure how you thought they got there, but yep, that's it.
I
it's
mean,
about
it's a
I
tough
hate it
thing.
for her. Yeah, because she's definitely the good guy. So it's like, oh, that poor lady.
You know, I had a family member that had to go through a pretty sick, and I say sick, but just because arthroscopic surgery is you want to talk about blood and guts.
Oh yes.
it's it was one of those kind of things that when they had to drive a rod down into a femur to get it to stay
Hmm.
together, and it's one of those kind of things that they were talking about. It's like I might kind of want to watch that surgery or see one. I was like, no, you don't. No,
Uh-uh.
you don't. Just
No,
be glad you were out
the
while it
people
was going on.
the people that have to observe that surgery in order to move up in the medical field in order to go on into that, they don't want to watch it. Like, I just want to do this shit. I don't want to watch it. Are you kidding me?
I mean, those are the surgeons that still have to get out mallets and junk like that. It's like uh, that's there's no other way.
Yeah,
But
man.
uh, I think
It
so.
reminds me. It always makes me think of the autopsy scene from Alien 3, which nobody watched Alien 3, but I wish everybody would because it's Alien 3 is fantastic. But when they're doing the autopsy on Newt, because Ripley just does not believe that she drowned. She's convinced that she's going to have like eggs inside of her and stuff like that. So she makes him open up the chest, and he's got that insane, just bone
Yeah,
saw thing. And it's in a movie, but it's like that really is what you have to do. Anything inside the chest, it's like,
yeah,
Jesus Christ, to break it apart and then put it
yeah,
back together. I'm like, I can't believe anyone ever figured out how to do this.
yeah. So anybody that saw that is like, that's for me.
That's for real. Calling?
Sign me up, bro.
That's right. I can't wait to kill people.
And I guess Brian Pillman to me was always one of those categories of like almost like a Chris Candido kind of character, where it's like, yeah, I remember him. I remember him being cool, but there's this reverence that some people have for him that are kind of like, I am I missing something?
I
Was I
miss
just
that.
too young at the time? I don't have that, just reverence
Yeah.
for the guy. After watching this, and I have a little bit more of it.
Yeah.
It's not so much for him. It's for for Linda.
Dude, it's like the whole thing about the whole Linda Pillman thing and T-shirts and stuff like that. I'm like, this is just wrestling's answer to Tiger King. That's all
Yeah,
it is. It's like people absolutely love car crash, trailer park addicts. I guess if you grow up around them, I guess they're not as fascinating. But yeah, if you're not used to that set, I guess what I'm trying to say is this: there's a lot of white people addicted to drugs down here. So
yeah.
it's like, and I guess it's more prominent
Park, of
now
course.
because oh god, oh yeah, but I guess people understand now with meth and things like that that maybe but that's the whole thing is like meth ain't the first one here, man. It's the biggest one here, but no, pardon me. Anyway,
That yeah, that's one of those things that speaking of people on that math and the Brian Pillman show, it gets to uh, him telling the story of his relationships and kids and wives, and I to I thought it was really smart of them to introducing Melody into the story, and they put this photo up of her back in the day,
Oh, sure.
and they show her now, and it's like there's no way that's the same person,
Mm.
and it's I think I'm still on the point from Jim Cornette. I want to say that I think they handled that as well as they could when it comes to, yeah, we could have made her the demon of the story just by editing, but we know she's going to do that for us,
You
so
don't
we'll let
have
her
to.
do it.
Yeah, don't have to. Just leave the mic live and talk to the kids. That's it. That's
Uh-huh.
all. That's
Yeah.
all it took, man. And I think that's smart too, and that's actually really really good storytelling and movie making. Man, is like why embellish what you don't have to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like hitting an ace on a golf course and writing your score in as -2. You
Yeah.
know, it's like, dude, how in the world are you gonna? What are you doing? Everyone knows you're lying. And
Hmm.
so it wasn't necessary to pile on. So like I said, there's the definite good guy and there's the definite bad guy, and it's all good. Heels and baby faces still work in that story, but it is cool. I'm with you. I liked it. My thing with Pillman is weird, but I remember WCW Brian Pillman way more like Cincinnati Bengals trunks Brian Pillman.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's because, and y'all can look this up, I might have the date wrong, but I think I have the day right. I think it was Christmas Day 1991. It might have been 1990. I could be wrong. But it's either the 24th or 25th. Now I don't know anything. I think it was Christmas Day 1990, now that I've said that. And
Okay.
that match at the Omni with him and Juice and Liger. And I'm here to tell you, I've still never seen anything in person that touches it. That was the
Yeah.
coolest thing I have ever seen. I wasn't a huge Flying Brian guy. Him and Z-Man were fun because I like the U.S. title. I love the U.S. tag team titles. Jared's heard it for as long as we've been friends, probably. That's my favorite wrestling championship ever. I just think they're so cool with the red leather, and I just thought they were neat. So they had them, and it was cool. And then the Midnight Express beat them for it because those belts are the property of the Midnight Express. So there's that.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. But that's it's cool. That'll do. I got way sidetracked on that, but that's my thing with Pillman, as I remember, like for cruiserweights before they were called that,
Mhm.
he was good. He was real good, and him and Liger were absolutely amazing. But it's Okada Omega for Flying Brian Pillman. That's cool and all, but I love Kenny Omega, but well, Okada carried him to those matches. Yeah, I do because I've seen them both. I love Kenny Omega, but because Okada is better than most everybody doing that. So, yep,
Yeah.
he did.
Yeah. And that's another good point I've heard a lot of people make is more than I shouldn't say more than any other, because there's some of them that are really good at doing this, but there's some of the shows that they've done where some of the people they choose to sit down with, you're kind of like, this guy, what did this person have anything to do with this story? But for the most part, pretty much everybody they sit down with is like, yeah, you have to talk to that guy, you have to talk to this guy. They kick off with Stone Cold, so that automatically gives it credence to like, man, this is going to be legit and good.
My favorite thing about Dark Side of the Ring is people going back and forth and over and around and under for well, they're too hard on WWE. They just always go after WWE. Well, that's where the stories are because AEW ain't been around but for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they don't do AEW because they don't care about AEW. There's nothing there. They're a WWE company. Oh man, they're right in the middle. That's what's great about it is they're actual fans doing fan shit, and I can prove it. Who's the narrator? And then who was the first guy on this? There you go. Simple, clear cut. Ain't nothing to it.
Yeah.
It's all good. All that stuff is dandy. About the only guy I'm with, the only person I thought was unnecessary to talk to was Meltzer, but that's just because I think Dave Meltzer is unnecessary for most of the interviews he's in.
I understand that.
Yeah. No, it
But
works.
I,
Everybody, you're right. Everybody contributes. You're totally right.
I, I, you never know. You never know when it comes to him. I think his friendship with Brian was legit because it seems like I've heard him tell that story before. I just don't know how much of that is just, well, this guy's not here to say it didn't happen.
Yeah,
So
for
let's
real,
say it
man.
did.
So it happened.
By God.
You know what that means? Right over us, back me up.
Yeah. part of the revisionist history that does try to creep in, and I think it's good on them to leave it in because most of us people that if you know, you know, but when you hear it, you're kind of like, that's bullshit. But 20 years after the fact, now Eric Bischoff's like, yeah, y'all was working with Brian all along.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely. Yep.
shit.
Yeah, that's the one that when I'm watching it, I'm like, everybody knows what a corporate kiss ass swindler bitch you are. It's like we said, there's a reason that Vince got rid of Eric Bischoff from Raw. No, he didn't. No.
Mm.
Eric Bischoff tried to walk in on that meeting at Fox, and Fox
Yeah.
is like, that guy, you fire that guy. He's
Yeah.
fired. So there was that because they know that
We know a snake because we know snakes because
of
it takes
course.
one to know one.
Yeah, that
And
schmoozy horseshit. There's a fucking reason. Listen, man, there is a reason that Fox is now moving to put SmackDown on national television, on just network television. And it's because Roman Reigns is your guy, not John Cena, who is a fucking swindler, and not Hulk Hogan, who is the king of swindlers. They know. There's a reason. Hogan and Bischoff are the exact same guy. It's just Hulk got a lot more oomph behind him before he started trying to trek out. Bischoff, he ain't got that. Bischoff doesn't have. Bischoff does a good impression of Hulk Hogan as far as like, I'm a big deal and I'm important and people care about the things that I have to see, and it's like, no, the fuck they don't. There's the door, asshole. You can go out there and get me a cup of coffee and make yourself useful, or you can just walk the hell to the lobby and go the fuck out of here. But we done. We done. Unless you want to be my gopher, we're done. And I'm totally
see
with
if
you.
Jason Hervey can get you a job, but
Yeah,
that's the best we can do for you.
your buddy Jason Hervey selling Hulk Hogan pasta cookers. Have fun, guys. Yeah, that's the thing that I love about the Bischoff thing is like you are a fucking liar. Everyone
Yeah.
knows you're a liar. You got played. Everyone
More,
knows you got played. The only thing that makes you getting played more enjoyable is now you no. That's the only thing you can do that would make it more pleasurable for us. So thanks.
yeah. Far more so than Meltzer. That's the part where I felt like, oh, this is straight up bull hockey,
Yeah.
horse hockey.
Oh, I don't think Dave is necessarily lying. I just like to take shots at him because I just
Yeah.
think that Dave's not my guy.
Okay. But I mean, it's just, and the other character from the story that a lot of people have gone crazy for is Kim Wood, the Cincinnati strength trainer. I guess if that was even a term at the time. And I was, and to hear him tell the story, he was kind of helping him organize that uh, business deal, and like, and if somebody could be that smart outside of the business, like how are you not running a company somewhere? So how much of that is legit, I don't know. But at the same time, the guy's got good stories, and I think he's one of those people that I think people are going to want to see a lot more from. I guess if the Bengals had some more stories for dark side of football to delve into, you'd see him more. But I don't know if we will or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the Bengals lost anybody to CTE, so we'll
Mm,
see.
I mean, I'm sure that there's got to be something there. But that, you know, when it gets into telling this, getting the whole story in, that was just the part of it that I never knew about. Is just the having a child as early as he did that I'd never heard about, and then him moving on to the new family. And uh, I think a lot of people would kind of say like, well, Brian was a bit of a piece of crap, but uh, how better to try to right that wrong than to uh, bring the kid in? I think that's probably some of the where a lot of the tragedy of the story comes in is like with Brian passing. That's where the family kind of could have shattered a lot worse than it did, but that's where the good side of the story and leaving you on a positive note is like his sister Linda is like, I'm not going to let that happen, and so she did her best to try to keep in contact with everybody. And Brian Pillman Jr. does have some god awful stories about a stepdad in particular and dealing with his mom, but and that's where the story, like, man, this is rough. But at the same time, he on Mother's Day weekend of all weekends, he just has to. He's telling the story, trying to bury the hatchet with. He's like, what am I going to do? Be mad weather my entire life.
Yeah.
And speaking about his first child, I mean, when she popped up, it's like she looks just as much like Brian as Brian Jr. So it's like that's kind of can't deny that one.
Yeah, that was a cool story. I actually thought that the way that was presented was quite neat because I don't know, it was just that I had never heard anything about that, but just the whole like this is somebody that Brian didn't know about. Brian had a kid he didn't even know about, and as soon as he finds out, he's in. I'm like, now that's cool, man. I thought that was real cool. I thought it was neat for them to put it in there that way. They got the pictures and they've got her on telling her own story, and I'm like, I love that. And like I was saying, man, that was something that Cornette was putting over. And I like it because, I mean, it's not across the board, but Brian Pillman Jr. does work for AEW, and a lot of Jim Cornette's bottom line exists in being that anti-AEW guy. So, you know, him going out of his way to say nice things, he's not going to do that unless they're true and unless he really wants to. So the whole thing about putting Pillman Jr. over as the guy that's like, nah, man, we got to have everybody in this. Everybody needs to have their say and their time and their piece. It's like, that's real cool. And I thought it was neat that obviously Cornette thought it was real cool because that's why he's putting it over. And I'm like, man, that's pretty sharp. That's pretty cool, man. I like that stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's to this point in the story or not, but you know, when it's kind of the seeds of Melanie being the person that she is, kind of like it comes to the funeral, and Linda is there. I don't, whether it was a viewing, whether it's funeral. She said it was the funeral, so I have to believe this is like the day of the funeral. And she's there in the funeral home, and there's a camera crew there, and she's like, what is going on here? And she goes over to him, and the camera crew's like, well, Melanie said we could be here, and she's like, I know. And now I'm paraphrasing. I'm not saying the words that she said, but so I could see in a lot of families, a lot of cultures, wife trumps sister. But you were talking to a goddamn Rocco. I'm telling you to leave, and they left. So they got out of there. So just from day one of him being gone, I think she kind of saw I've got to take these reins because these kids are not going to be in good hands with Mel.
Yeah.
So and that's just straight up me projecting on it, and because I think it's Evan and Jason that are the filmmakers that put that show out, and they don't have to beat you over the head with that at all. They just put the sound bites out there and just let her talk, and I'm like, I just, whew, good God Almighty. So, all that being said, I'm like, go check it out because I think it's freaking awesome.
I think it's hella tight.
It's hella tight. So man, but at the same time, it's one of those that the way it was released, like a week before it came out, they put out part one on YouTube, and I'm like, how did I miss this? I know there's no way I missed this. And then when it gets released this past Thursday, oh, it's all in one shot. So, oh, okay, I get it now. So I sat down and watched it all in one sitting just because I'm that kind of crazy person.
No, it's cool. It's a good way to do it, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah. I'm doing it off YouTube, so that was my thing. Was I just found I was hoping like, man, I hope part two is up, and it is. It's like, sweet, okay. So I'm working on that, and I've gone back and watched a couple of the other ones because you've seen them before, but watched the Road Warriors again, which I mean, it's okay. It's all right. It's fine, but my favorite thing about the Road Warrior one is just the people that you get on talking about them. Just like how many people came out of Minnesota that really went on to be huge deals. That was kind of cool. Like I thought the Scott Norton stuff was cool. The Darso stuff is great. I liked all that. And oh, you know what that was though? I'm sorry, I told you I didn't tell you wrong, but it was the Man, the after the fact one that Conrad does, where he'll like sit down with the two guys
Yeah, confidential or whatever they
yeah, or
call it.
whatever it's called.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
that
what
really is a neat way to watch those.
I agree. It was cool, man. It's all right. This is sharp,
Yeah.
man. This is pretty cool because those guys are cool, and I like Conrad. I think he's cool, man. Like I said, just him
Mhm.
absolutely murdering Eric Bischoff over the Sting title change that's the best thing ever. And it's
Yeah.
just more of the same where Bischoff thinks he's so slick. The guy literally thinks he can just sit there and lie to you, and it's like I appreciate Conrad being like, dude, you know, I know. Oh, you know, were you there? And it's like, I know because the whole fucking world knows. We were all watching this shit. Everybody knows. That's how, I was there. You weren't there. And it's like, yeah, well, but you're lying. So I have to step in and tell everybody what really went down.
I don't believe you.
Liar. Absolute liar, man. Hulk got mad. Hulk it wasn't gonna change anything. La-di-da. Fuck out of here. You're a liar. That's all that idiot ever cared about, man. Which I do think that's something I will say going back to WrestleMania this year, which I haven't seen, but I do love well, it's about time for WWE to part company with Hulk Hogan. I'm like, oh, you finally woke up and realized that none of us want that fucking old piece of shit around anymore? You sure? Because us telling you for 3 years apparently didn't get the message through. You wanted to bring him back because, oh, it's Tampa. He needs to be in Tampa. And you want to dress him up like Captain Crunch or whatever. But now all of a sudden, the racism, it's a bad look. It wasn't too bad of a look to bring him back. No, it's the fact that ain't no dials moving anymore.
Mhm.
Screw all that, man. Everybody knows what happened, man. Holt is irrelevant. Everyone knows it. He can go do freaking every commercial known to man alongside Rick. I don't understand this about Ric Flair. This thing I don't understand about Ric Flair. If you are a serial philanderer over the course of 4 decades, maybe 5 now, why in the hell do you keep putting anything on that third finger of your left hand? What are you doing? Go to Derek Jeter fantasy camp and learn how to do that. It's like, what is wrong with you, Ric Flair? He's got to get out there. He needs the money. Yeah, he does, because divorce proceedings and alimony payments catch up, don't they? I love Rick, but Jesus Christ, man, just
Too late for me.
you got a fucking problem. You got a
Yeah.
problem, man. If you can't keep your dick out of that many girls, but you got to marry one of them before you then go run around, dude, your stupid ass deserves whatever you get. Oh my
Yeah.
God, what a fucking idiot. Oh, I gotta do commercials now for, I can't remember who it was, that sorry ass shit. I'm like, you are fucking, this is pitiful, man.
He said I could come down and chop Peter Avalon so I said, I'll buy some cars, yo, baby.
This is terrible. It's just embarrassing, man. I love Rick, but it's like, oh my God. I think since you watched the High Spots interview and he gets that huge check, and I think that was 2 wives ago. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
you got no sippy.
Yeah, it's I mean that's a lesson that not many guys can learn. Just stop. You're too much, man.
Dude, honestly, seriously, if your intention is to fuck yourself into oblivion, fine. Don't get married. Don't drag anybody else into it. Or if you're going to, if you insist upon getting married and then running around behind your wife's back, I don't want to hear any bitching about it when you get
Yeah.
pegged. When you
Yeah.
get tackled in court and you have to pay this person for the rest of their life, shut the fuck up about it.
That is another thing that you will find in the High Spot shoot interview is every story Rick is the victim.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
it's very few times does he kind of say, my bad.
Yeah.
If you even get that much.
Well, fuck that one up. Oh, fuck that one up too. Shit.
Even up until I guess it was technically a 30 for 30 on Rickman. It's poor pitiful me.
Yeah.
Stories like I'm sick of that.
It's messed up. I think that was one of the things that kind of did me in too, man. So again, just stupid decisions over and over and over again. But yeah, the 30 for 30 sucked, man. That was not good. That was not good. Like, what the
Yeah,
fuck
man.
ever, man. Who cares? This is. I'm tired of hearing about you, brother. Pardon me.
Good times.
I mean to trash Rick, but it's just like, again, there are certain mistakes that people make that I don't, like I said, man, you can do whatever the fuck you want to, but if you think you're gonna get any fucking bitch fest sympathy over man chicks, man, they're just being unfair to Rick. Fuck you. You're a fucking idiot. If you get the fuck out of here, man. Like we said, it's not one woman. It's not two. What's he up to now? As far as like how many women he has to pay? He's like 4 or 5 deep, isn't he?
At least 4, possibly 5.
Get the hell out of here. I don't want to hear that bullshit. Fucking whiny ass piece of shit. Fuck that, man.
Happy Mother's Day.
Dude, shit, fuck, I just hate it. It's like, man, I got no time for this guy, man.
Man, but that, man, did you watch Blood and Guts? Did you have an opinion on that?
I did. I recorded it and then kind of went quick and zipped through it and watched. I really just wanted to see the main event. So I'm like, okay,
I think a lot of people were feeling that.
Yeah, it's like, this is okay. All right, that's okay. Cool. And you get to the main event and you watch the main event. If you guys know of our affinity for the Marty and Sarah Love Wrestling podcast, a lot of this is probably going to sound really familiar because they had some opinions on it that I completely agree with, but I'll try and give you my own personal details on it. I can tell you what was good or what was bad. Which would you prefer me to start with?
Man, I always gotta do the good news first when it comes to that stuff.
My thing, I thought everything in the match was good, except the one thing that wasn't. And everything means until it became MJF and Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
All the roof stuff sucked, so I guess I started with the bad. But I promise I'm going to go back and talk about the good stuff. I love War Games format anyway. I've always loved that. I thought this was cool. Dax Harwood starting, of course, Arn Anderson's illegitimate son has to go first because Arn started every War Game, so that's very cool. Sammy Guevara going first. I don't know who I expected. Didn't expect Sammy. I also didn't expect to give a damn because I don't like Sammy Guevara, but he impressed the shit out of me. I thought he was very, very good in that facet of being like one-on-one and fiery and all that. 2-on-1 getting beat up. 2-on-2. I was really impressed with him the whole match. And I don't say a lot of nice things about Sammy Guevara, and I'm accentuating that to really try and get over just how excellent I thought he was. Second thing I noticed, I couldn't believe you had Arn go first. How in the world does Tully not go second? And then it made sense. Well, it made sense, and I'll tell you why. Shawn Spears gets in there, and I realized now why I don't like Shawn Spears. He does his little chair shot to Guevara, and then he has his little, the ecstasy of violence. Oh, my God. And it's like he's Randy Orton. Fuck this guy. I hate that character no matter who does it. Dude, anybody that's going to look at Randy Orton and go like, yeah, that guy, I'm never going to be a fan of yours, and that's just that. But then you get 2-on-2, and so that was something else to surprise. I was really surprised that Santana was, or Ortiz was second. That surprised me. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, cool, man. I enjoyed Santana and Ortiz's Gorillas of Destiny, Dead President's face paint. I'm like, I hope that's foreshadowing. But they get in there, it's 2-on-2. And then here comes Tully. And it was the way he comes in the ring, runs across, goes up the rope, and does that little miniature doomsday device. And I'm like, that's why. Okay, I get it. That's why. And the reason you have Ortiz go first is because they've got him over by the cage, and they're sitting there talking crap with Santana. And I'm like, okay, that works. That's really good. So then you've got 3-on-3. And it was all fun and good, and it was cool. And then it's time for the fourth guy on Team White to come in. And the Jericho team gets the leg up. So the three of them are kind of standing tall, and it's all good. And here comes Wardlow. And you let Wardlow pretty much beat the crap out of all three of them to put himself over. And then you turn around and do the exact same thing with Jake Hager. And I'm not a Hager guy. I'm not necessarily a Wardlow guy. But I thought that was absolutely fantastic. To have the two tanks wipe out everybody else, and then Hager draws the line in the sand. And I mean, all of that was awesome. I was impressed with that. Everything in the match up to that point I thought was quite good. And then I loved that. That was such a good idea and such a cool way to introduce your Bulls. And then we have MJF, and then we have Jericho, and that was the end of me caring about it because I just thought, but I am hoping, surely to God, that was enough to not have to have the solo blow off. because y'all got your fucking solo blowjob blow off when you're on the fucking roof. And that was the only thing I did. Just again, going back, piggybacking not only on Marty and Sarah, but I think it was a problem that a lot of people had. I get it, very long match, and I get it. You need to do picture in picture to make your money. But seriously, you ran all those commercials so you could have MJF and Jericho go uninterrupted from commercial break. Now, you picked the worst part of the match to accentuate. And the biggest problem I had with all the crap at the end, aside from the crash pad, which we've discussed already on here, this is what everybody does now to fuck over. You have no problem when it's Shane McMahon. Don't have a problem now.
Yeah.
This is what people do now. It's fine. The complaints about the crash pad that I heard that I think are very accurate and very justified are people that don't give a damn there's a crash pad. They don't care that the metal is cardboard. Their problem is the angle that you shoot it from, and those people are right. They're 100% right. There's no need for you to be right on top of it, and they freaking proved it because it wasn't Wile E. Coyote, but the far away shot where you see the entire fall looks 1,000 times better. And it's because this little puppy piece of cardboard doesn't shoot up and you see a big black pillow underneath it. So they're right. Those people I completely agree with. But I'm telling you, far worse than the garbage crash pad or the cardboard or whatever. How fucking long did MJF walk on the top of that goddamn cage saying, I'll do it? I'll do it. It felt like 20 goddamn minutes. And I'm like, why am I seeing commercials during every part of this match that was great? And I got to watch all of this. Yeah. Oh, man, he's sadistic. He's crazy. He's a heel. He's the best heel. He is the best heel when he's a chicken shit coward. But if you're trying to tell me now that, oh, he's Mr. Sadistic, man, he's crazy, get the fuck out of here. I ain't feeling that. And I'm never going to feel that. So ultimately, my thing for the Blood and Guts match is I loved it till the end. I thought the finish was dumb as shit. I hated it. I love the idea of, can we please just blow this off? You literally leave the inner circle just drowned in blood. I guess I'll just say blood. I was trying to think of something more sexy. But just drowning in the shit. And yes, MJF goes over Jericho, and that's the ultimate show. And then the inner circle break up. We don't have to worry about it anymore. Pinnacle become the new guys. That's all good. And if you end it that way, and you still want Chris Jericho, boy, you took my team, but I'll give you what for. And you want to have the one final blow-off match where MJF officially retires Chris Jericho, that would work. But you can't do that shit now because you gave him 20 goddamn minutes of bullshit at the end of that match.
Yeah.
I don't need War Games to wind up being Hell in a Cell. I don't. But anyway, I don't want to make it sound like I didn't like it. I liked a lot of it, but it's like a movie that's real, real, real good, and then the ending kind of sucks. That's what happened there.
It made it feel like, have y'all got J.J. Abrams booking the territory now?
I thought the
some
ending
really good ideas, good storylines, has a tough time tying let loose ends in the third act.
The end sucked. I thought the ending of it sucked. What'd you think of it, man?
When it comes to the match itself, I what I need to do is watch it again, because after my initial watching, I did not like it nearly as much as a lot of people had, just because it felt crowded. But at the same time, I didn't realize how good it was, because I had that same opinion that a lot of people did. Is that when it gets to what they're building towards, it's like, man, this is the Jericho and MJF stuff at the end. I was like, oh God, it's not what I was hoping for.
It sucked. Yeah, I thought the very end of it was awful, especially turning it into the one-on-one match. It's like, nah, man, I'm here for everybody else. I don't give a shit about either one of those guys anyway. Mm-hmm. So it's like everybody else is what I'm into. I totally dig that. I like the preview of FTR versus LAX. I love the idea of seeing those guys get together. That would be awesome. But yeah, it's just like once you get to once they leave the cage, it's like, that's so stupid. This is so fucking dumb. But at the same time, if we're just going to fast forward the storyline and, okay, we've done Jericho MJF, that's over with, I'm cool. But if you're going to start building a solo thing for them now, that sucks, man.
Yeah. I guess that was my other deal with I don't know enough about the company and their schedule to know which nights are taped and which nights are live. For some reason, I thought all of it was live. Like a lot of people that went down there to see the show, and they got there and they're like, "What?" Just because the first couple of matches and it's always kind of weird when you have the first matches and there's still the two rings out there and it just looks weird. But then that was good enough. But if all that's taped, why is it necessary to have the two promos before the match with Tony standing next to the match? Because I thought, okay, to make it believable, you have those two interviews to okay, well, they've got to set up the whole cage war game setup, but you're seeing it there the whole time. It's like, that's not going on. So why is all this talking happening? They're back to back. And it's just one of those kind of things that you go back and you think about it. It's like, that was kind of weird. But
you know. I missed all of that because I don't understand why people are fussing about. It was one match. They were calling it a one-match show for weeks in advance. Weeks and weeks in advance. And as far as them taping, going live, they've been doing that the whole time.
Yeah.
The question that you must ask yourself is this. Not, well, when does AEW tape? How come they tape? The question is, how the fuck do they keep their results from getting out? And the answer is that way. And it's like, that's impressive as shit that they can even get away with it. But the thing I don't understand is, I don't know exactly what people think that structure would take to put up. If you think they gonna come out between a couple of fucking matches and put that shit up, no fucking way. Especially not when you're gonna have them go on the top of it. Well, Hell in a Cell is built beforehand and dropped down, isn't it? Ain't got no fucking arena roof in Daly's place, so they weren't going to do that. But yeah, the whole thing is all like, well, people were mad. They wanted refunds. They didn't want refunds. Tony Khan offered refunds. And do you know how many people took him up on it? 5. I can't believe that half the crowd didn't rush like, shit, you going to give me my money back and get a free night at wrestling? I can't believe there weren't more opportunistic people in the crowd than 5. But people are reporting that shit like it's some mad old man. AEW had to give out refunds. They offered refunds and they issued 5. This is hardly a tragedy. It's hardly the end of days. But yeah, the whole single match thing, that really surprised me because they hammered that shit for weeks before it happened. Weeks. And I'm like, there's no way that anybody showed up and actually thought, oh, this is the only thing they're doing? No, you just thought, Tony's going to give me my money back? I'll take it. And that's okay. That's all right because again, he put the offer on the table, so that's totally okay. But it really surprised me. So I guess it's another one of those examples of people just, man, they are so fucking desperate for things to trash that company over. I'm like, you do realize how strong you're making them look.
It's a little manufactured, when it comes to the story.
Yeah, and if you have to go that far out of your way, it's like, well, the product must be good, and I can prove that's the case. What was the other big complaint about Blood and Guts? Oh my God, so much blood. It's barbaric. Oh my God, y'all bitches been crying about this shit. Oh man, ACW, man, ACW was wild. Hey, ACW was crazy. Just get the hell out of here, man. It's just, you're only ever going to hear from people that bitch about shit. And AEW as a company is 100% okay with that because as we've talked about, the only commodity that exists in Twitter world is attention. Does not matter who's looking, doesn't matter who's talking, doesn't matter if they say they don't like it, legitimately don't like it, or fucking hate it. If they're talking about it, you win. It's ridiculous. The way shit works now is so stupid. And I understand Corny doesn't get it because they're never gonna make it. They'll never get a bigger audience. They're never gonna make it. So it doesn't fucking matter. Twitter loves AEW because anytime they do anything in that company, people lose their minds and they don't care.
Yeah.
They're fine. It's why TNT re-signed them as quickly as they did. How many huge events have they had before TNT re-upped them? The answer is none. None. As far as being a TNT, they'd already done All Out or All In or whatever the fuck the thing was called, but that was before they even got that deal. Yeah. So man, it's like, dude, it's just getting people talking. It's the same. It's the reason that Logan and Jake Paul are people that people have heard of now, man. Attention's attention's easy. It's easy, man. Just talk about your shit and get people huffy and talking about your tweets. That's all that matters, man.
Yep. Get them going.
That's it. That's all you gotta do, man.
Mm-hmm. That's what's up, man.
That's how we do. I missed all that stuff. It sat on my DVR for almost a week. Well, not almost a week, but over the weekend. I watched it last night. But man, what else have I been up to lately? I watched a bunch of movies lately, man. I'm glad I'm getting caught up on movies. I know I mentioned it on here that I watched the Willem Dafoe Van Gogh movie. We already talked about that one, so I won't do it again. But recently, I have watched Kindergarten Cop, because why wouldn't I?
Heck yeah, man.
My buddy Aaron and I have this thing where we get together and we're trying to work our way through Schwarzenegger movies. And it started with Conan the Destroyer because I'd never seen it. And so, man, you gotta watch that. So we watched it. I thought it was cool as hell. I was like, all right, this is cool because Conan the Barbarian. It's awesome. I had never seen the second one, so all right, cool. We'll watch that. Excuse me.
What is best in life?
I love What is Best in Life. Oh my God. So we watched Conan the Destroyer. Not this time. We did that before. Kindergarten Cop. There's a new Netflix movie called Stowaway that we looked at because it's a space movie. And for me, as soon as I saw the little graphic, it's Toni Collette and Anna Kendrick. And here's the thing about those two people. Pairing. Yeah, here's the thing about those two people. Toni Collette is on my short list of favorite actresses in the game. I love her. I think she's great. Here's my thing about Anna Kendrick. Anna Kendrick is somebody that I know who she is. Everyone knows who she is. When it comes to movies she's in that I've actually seen, I honestly think that before the other day, Scott Pilgrim was the only one. It's strange because she's popular and she's in a ton of things, but I just don't think I've seen any of them except that one. But this is somebody that exists in like meme culture and stuff like that, which is fine. But with interviews and stuff like that, where you see her just talking and being herself, she's just perfectly likable. She just seems to be very cool. So I'm like, why don't you watch more of her stuff? So I was excited because of that.
That George Clooney movie, Up in the Air. She was in that.
That's right. She is in that.
But I mentioned that to mention that, I mean, 9 out of 10 things she's in just plain ain't made for me.
Yeah, oh, certainly. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I wouldn't have seen, but I'm glad you mentioned Up in the Air because I completely forgot that, and that's fascinating because of how it ties back into Kindergarten Cop. Mm-hmm. Because Jason Reitman directed Up in the Air, and in Kindergarten Cop, when John Kimball is looking for the bad guy and he kicks the door open, and you got the two teenagers making out in the teacher's lounge. Mm-hmm. That's Jason Reitman. It's so fantastic. It's fantastic how that all tied together. But yeah, I can't believe I forgot that because she's really good in that. So cool. I'm glad you mentioned that. So now the things I've seen that she's actually in, man, she's like, well, for her performance, anyway, she's 3 for 3. She's good in all of it. And I thought I liked the A Stowaway. I thought it was quite cool. It's very good. And it's so stupid, but my thing I got the most excited about is Toni Collette's first line. And it's like, man, I don't think since Muriel Heslop has she got to use her actual speaking voice in her role. So as you hear the Australian accent, it's like, oh my God, she's just getting to talk. It's amazing. It was cool. I dug it. The third thing that I watched, this is not the order that I watched them in, but I'm building up. The third thing that I watched, and I've wanted to see this since it came out. I've laid around, obviously, for 2 years and not done it. I watched... based on a recommendation, I watched Greta Gerwig's Little Women. And this is the thing about Greta Gerwig's Little Women. I had heard that it was great. The cast, you look at the cast and you're, oh yeah, they obviously are not effing around because each one of the girls and Marmee, it's like, yeah, they're not messing around. Mm-hmm. But it was with when Sarah was talking about it on Marty and Sarah a couple of weeks ago about Bob Odenkirk showing up. And I don't get it. I love Mr. Show, but Bob Odenkirk's a good actor, so I didn't get that. Mm-hmm. But as far as like his line of referring to them as his Little Women, that's from the book. Not that he does it, but it's when Marmee gets the letter from him from the war front, and she's reading it to all of them. That scene in the movie is verbatim. That is exactly what letter is written in the book, and he refers to My Little Women. So it's like it didn't bother me quite so bad that he had that line. I was okay with it. It didn't bug me. It was fine. But the movie front to back, again, the acting is fantastic. The costumes are obviously awesome because anything that you're going to do in that era, and that's what it got its Oscar for. But let me tell you what it should have gotten Oscars for. Because now that I've seen Little Women, I am furious over one. There's two that I wish would have got more consideration. There's one that I can point blank tell you they got wrong. And here's the deal. I might say the name wrong. Charisse Ronan, awesome actress. I've liked her in everything I've seen her in. All that stuff is good. Hermione was good as Meg. It was cool. It's nice to see her and stuff. That was cool. The girl that plays Beth, I'm sitting there the whole movie like, I know this person. I'm never going to remember what I know her from, but I know this person. I looked it up when the movie was over, and it's a movie called Baby Teeth. And it's like once I realized that was her, I'm like, I can't believe I couldn't put that together, but I never would have got it. All that aside, Florence Midsummer Pugh. Florence Pugh should have been, I think, given more consideration for Best Supporting Actress. If you watch her in that movie, she literally, and part of it is, we'll get into this in a moment. I'm not saying that she's got to do this here. But over the course of making that movie, she has got to be the precocious, I hate that word, but the 15-year-old who's pretty smart and pretty clever and pretty witty and funny. She gets to be that. She gets to be the 15-year-old who's a complete brat tyrant. She gets to be the absolute villain. Anyone that's seen the movie knows what scene I'm talking about. She gets to be head over heels, googly-eyed girl in love with the neighbor boy, who then is furious at him, and then kind of in the middle, and then that relationship alone, Amy and Laurie alone, you got to have a lot of range. But she hits all of these notes perfectly, all the while physically acting to where she literally looks over the course of that movie that she goes from about 15 to about 25. Same person, same actress, and she hits all of those notes perfectly. She really should have been given, I think, more, because she got nominated, which is great. And I haven't seen what won, but it's very, very impressive performance when you consider how much ground she has to cover. And considering that when you see it, you'll go from this to this to this to this. And I'm not saying she performed it that way, but it's the way that it was edited and the way the script was written. And that brings me to the point of the one that was absolutely robbed on. The fact that Greta Gerwig did not win Best Adapted Screenplay for that movie is an absolute fucking crime. Unbelievable. First of all, you got to have stones to even touch Little Women, much less take that story and completely Tarantino the shit out of it as far as the way that you want to put it in the order. The linear narrative of that story is 1,000% different from the novel, which is very cool, very courageous, and can get you an awful lot of shit because it's not a book that people like. Little Women is not a book that people like. People that are Little Women people, that's their book. Lord of the Rings, Secret Garden, Little Women, these are books you do not fuck with unless you do it well. It's absolutely fantastic. And one of the main reasons it was so fantastic, again, you get to see, as far as all of the performances, but particularly Florence Pugh as Amy, you get to see those things I was talking about earlier, the juxtapositions and even the contradictions right next to each other. And it's so impressive to watch someone do it bam, 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 bam like that. But that's not the main reason it was as good as it was. The main reason it's as good as it was is there's one thing that happens in Little Women that everybody, whether you've read the book before or not, knows happens. I won't say what it is because you already know what I'm talking about. But when you get to the reason the movie has been put in this order, boy, you won't miss it. You will not miss it. And the effect that it has is so crushingly fantastic. I was so impressed, and I'm like, I cannot believe, as straining as you are to pat yourself on the back for, we nominated a black producer, and we nominated a woman for best director. You had one singular woman take Louisa May Alcott's masterpiece, completely put it in a blender for one very specific and incredibly effective reason. And you nominated her, which is great. I'm glad they nominated her. But you gave that fucking award as a token to Taika Waititi because he made you a couple of dollars on Thor. And don't get me wrong, I thought Jojo Rabbit was really good. I was surprised that I liked it as much as I really was. Because I don't typically like movies where kids are the leads. I just don't. But I watched it on a recommendation, and I really liked it. I was very, very impressed. But let me tell you something. There ain't nothing in Jojo Rabbit that's better than anything in Little Women. The least among them being the script. Pick something else to give Taika Waititi his moment in the sun, because it was a very good movie. And again, the things about Jojo Rabbit I liked the best had nothing to do with what was on paper. It was decisions that he made as far as shot composition, and I don't want to ruin it, but there's just a couple. I can say it without ruining it. The two scenes that I like the best for Heil Hitler, which is the script, but it's the way he puts it together, and then the Heil Hitler chorus, I should say, and then Blue Butterfly. Ain't got to say nothing else because everyone knows that's the best thing in that movie, and it's the way he presented it. That's directing. That's not screenplay. That's not adaptation. That's him directing it. So why in the world? I hate the screenplay awards being tokens, especially when you have somebody that really, really, really earned it. And you were falling all over yourself. She gave Little Women like 9 nominations. You wanted to give it something, but costume design is the only thing you actually pulled the trigger on, and that sucks. Now, again, now that I've seen it in particular, it's a crime. That is one of the shittier decisions I've seen recently. Basically, that's my negative way of saying that movie was unreal. I loved it. I thought it was so good. I like that story anyway, so it's like, oh, this will be fun. Unbelievable, man, because again, gutsy as shit to even try and do it, especially if you're going to do it in a completely different way. Oh, yeah, we're going to do Little Women, but the narrative is going to be completely out of order. You'll love it.
Yeah.
Nobody says that. Nobody does that. It's just... It's more of that stuff like we talked about, man. That's what sucks so bad about tokenism, man, is you don't have to do that. You do not have to give Moonlight Best Picture because a black guy directed it. You can give Moonlight Best Picture because it was amazing. Amazing. And it's like there's just such a history at the Oscars of giving out awards that I say it all the time, but it's true. They only gave Taika Waititi the award because they thought they were giving it to a native African tribesman because of his name. And it's like, do your research, guys. Taika Waititi's as white as I am. Stop it. Stop it. Stuff like that just makes me nuts. And I'm particularly mad about it now because that movie was unreal. And I wish it would have gotten, I mean, the best costumes is awesome. But you were going to give it that anyway because it's a period piece. Forget the fact the lady, doesn't matter that the lady earned it. Doesn't matter that the team that did the costumes were great. And they should have won the award. That's not why you gave it to them, and that just sucks. Anyway, I'm sorry to get so off on that, but anyway, if anybody hadn't watched the 2019 version of Little Women, if you're interested at all, knock that sucker out. It was so good. I loved it.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, I think that's everything. These guys got a point today. That's good. I was glad to get to see them, and I don't think anybody else played today, or at least I don't remember if they did or not.
Man, I couldn't tell you. Feels like soccer was on all day.
Yeah, oh yeah, they ran a lot of it today, man. It was Seattle and Portland played, and that's always fun. Sorry, and El Trafico was on later tonight, and it's fine. I don't particularly. It's weird. The Western Division of MLS is a lot of fun, but. It's not their fault. I mean, I get it. It's Los Angeles. There's more people there than I get it, but it's just the instant obsession with the two LA clubs is kind of like Kansas City, Seattle, and Portland are still things. They still matter. Please keep them on TV. And to be fair, all 3 of those teams were on TV today, and that was good. Kansas City played Austin, and I'm like, Austin, good God. I will say that they got the uniforms right. They look awesome. Their crap is cool looking, But yeah, it was MLS Mother's Day, definitely. They definitely got it hooked up, man.
That's what's up.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. I mentioned it to you earlier. I'll say it now. The furthering or the continuing saga of the Aaron Rodgers trade, which honestly, I just figured it was, I really did believe that was draft week bullshit just to give something to talk. Draft day, excuse me, not even draft week, draft day shit. It's like, we need to get more eyeballs on the draft. But if it's real, I would love it if it was real, to be honest with you. We were talking about it, man, that one of the rumors is New Orleans. That's ESPN's big pick. Because, oh my God, Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady in the division. Oh, God. Okay. How many years do you think you can do that? Because Brady, I know y'all think he's immortal. He's not. And it's not like Rodgers is a spring chicken. Rodgers ain't going to be around that much longer, but still. If you're telling me I can have those guys in division, or he can go to Denver like that's what I keep hearing is where he's leaning. See, I think that's much better because if he's in Denver and Brady's in Tampa, you can have a potential Super Bowl matchup. But more importantly, in division, we'll get Rodgers and Mahomes twice a year. That would be so sick. I would love that. I think that would just be the coolest. So I'm hoping that if he leaves Green Bay, which I think he will, I don't know, I shouldn't say I think he will. I hope he does is what I mean to say. I hope he does. And I hope he goes to Denver because that's just cool. Denver, that place that Brady should have gone, but he's a chicken shit and doesn't want to go play in a place that Peyton Manning actually played because it's like, hey, I've been a Broncos fan for years and I saw them both play and I'm here to tell you, Brady's not. Brady's not as good as Manning. He never was and he never will be. So, yeah, I wouldn't go to – that's the two things. The two places that Brady should have gone were Indy or Denver. He ain't going to do either one of those, and I don't blame him. And to be fair also, I mean, he is a freaking Trump pansy piece of shit. So you go to, ooh, Tampa, no taxes. Cool. I understand. I get it, man, especially considering, the combined income of that family. Hey, I get it. not want state taxes. Go ahead. That's cool.
I get that.
Yeah, man. But I like that idea better. You save them for the Super Bowl because you ain't gonna have too many chances to do it. And also, it's getting to the point where the people like it or not, man. You keep shoving Brady in the Super Bowl, you're gonna be in the same situation you were in with Tebow, where you had to sit Tebow down because it was just too fucking fake. Careful, just be careful. Anyway, but the main point is that Mahomes and Rodgers twice a year would be awesome. That would be super cool, man.
Yeah, that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, I would love it if he did that because what's left in the NFC Central or NFC North? I always want to call it the Central because it used to be. And it's what's left? Nobody's left, man. Detroit's never going to do anything. And the Bears got Justin, so I hope the Bears do fine whenever they put him in there. But I don't think they're ready. They might be. Shoot, I really don't know. I don't know if they are or not. It seems to me that there's just been the constant belly aching from Wilbon. We have a quarterback. When are we going to have a quarterback? We don't have one. We don't have a quarterback. But I don't know if that he whines about it because it's the only thing they're missing, or it's just because that's what everyone whines about.
Yeah. It's the easiest thing to complain about.
Oh, my God. The freaking starting quarterback being the new heavyweight champion of the world is one of the stupid. I just can't stand that. That's the laziest shit. But, I mean, it works for national sports, and I get it because, like, national cable sports, you can't focus on anything long enough to actually know anything about it. So, quarterback. That's 31 names you have to recognize. And it's really not even 31. It's like top 40 radio. As long as you know the 5 that everyone talks about, you're covered for 75% of your day. And it's like, this is crap, dude. But that's that thing you and I talk about where it's so much more fun to listen to local broadcasters. They actually do know the team. Because they have time to know the team. The national guys it's the same thing. I think feel the same way about like cable news versus local news, man. Cable news, get the fuck out of here. You can't cover the state, much less the country, much less the planet. I don't give a crap how much of your 24, especially when you use your 24 hours. Man, come on. 6 hours of that is a loop. Excuse me. And the other, how many would that be? 14 and 6 is, I'm really not good at math, man. 6 hours to 16. You got 16 hours of programming, and you're going to use at least 9 of those for just the same old garbage talking point you've been rerunning all day. It's like, this sucks, man.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole mess.
Yeah, dang old big old pile of bull mess. Pile of poopy.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, man. I think that's it. Thank you for movie review hour, because that movie was nuts, man. It was great.
Cool, man. That's what's up, man.
That's how we do. Y'all, thank you for watching.
Heck yeah, man. I'll see y'all.
Yeah.
Bye.